Greetings, diners, and welcome to the latest in my series of editions done from my hospital bed here in the Matanuska Valley of Alaska, Matanuska-Susitna River Valley. Okay, we've got two beautiful glacial rivers that flow across this area and also provide some lovely farmland. Okay, Alaska does have farms, some very nice ones, and we do grow wonderful vegetables, big ones, because of the length of the days during the growing season. The growing season is short, but the days are very long. And we grow world record carrots and cabbages, and we have beautiful Yukon Gold Alaska potatoes also that are lovely, and red potatoes and any number of other varieties. Finger potatoes, which I really like, they're kind of like buttery. Very good for stews. And our onion crop is good. And then other veggies that you wouldn't normally associate with Alaska do grow up here in hothouses. And we have a world-class supply of hothouse stuff. Hothouse tomatoes are available to get year-round, and asparagus and a few other choice veggies can be got that way. Although, to be honest, most of the time you're buying stuff, when you're buying those veggies, you're buying stuff that's barged up here from California and Mexico, Chile, etc. All the western coast of North and South America that have large produce areas and ship basically around the Pacific Rim. Stuff goes to China, and stuff goes to Oz, and Oz also does ship stuff out, particularly meats, lamb comes from Oz, a lot of it, and we get Australian lamb up here quite a bit. One of my favorites as far as meat goes. I love a rack of lamb, delicious. And I haven't done one for my cooking show recently. I think I will probably, once I get myself out of my current situation of being hospitalized and bedridden and otherwise unable to do a whole lot of anything, is somewhat fixed up. And with that in mind, I have completed 3 weeks in the hospital. That's in the hospital proper, including my trip to the ER that got me admitted here, and then admission to a floor unit for observation and treatment of what appeared to be cellulitis in my lower legs, but which, through a variety of, I'll just call them unfortunate decisions made here, I ended up with a bleeding ulcer. And that got me sent to the operating room to try to stop the bleeding there, and it got me 3 days altogether in intensive care with no food and no water allowed, nothing to drink, nothing to eat, nada, for 3 days. The only thing I was allowed to do was to dab a little tiny wet sponge onto my lips to keep my lips from drying out completely. I was like a big prune, right? Meat package prune, freeze dried RE here in the hospital. Let me see. Do I still have? I still have those foam thingies. Let me see if I can get one and show it to you. What I was using for moistening my lips. Here's one of them. I still have it. You see? It's a little sort of a Q-tip. It's actually a straw with a foam sponge at the end, and I would dip it into a tiny container of ice water. They wouldn't give me a full container because they're afraid that you'll wait for the ice to melt and then drink the water, you see. Sneaky. I would have done it too. But, no, they just give you enough to wet the sponge, get it a little cooled off, and then you kind of kiss it, you know. And that keeps it dry, or it keeps it from drying out too much. And then plus add to that, they give you a lip balm, like chapstick, Susie chapstick. Very good. All right. Which is, kind of a waxy, oil-based product, no doubt. I don't think it's naturally occurring. At least it's not stuff they give you here. Everything here is fake. The food is fake. All right, especially the ER food or the ICU food. They give you a clear liquid diet after you've been okayed for some food, which the kind of stuff that you're allowed to eat Jell-O, okay, total fake food. You're allowed to eat ice pops, fake food. All right, it's just food coloring and a little sugar, or it's probably not even sugar. It's probably some diet sugar substitute. And what else do you get? You can eat tea. All right, tea is natural. I'll give you that. But I don't like tea. It just makes me nauseous. And that's like your clearest diet. And then there are gradations upward. Then you have a softs diet where you're allowed stuff like ice cream, okay, and usually only vanilla. They don't have chocolate for God knows what reason. Sometimes you get it, not very often. And then the regular diet that I was on wasn't actually a regular diet. I was on the cardiac diet, even though heart problems is not one of my issues. Believe it or not, for some reason I don't have heart problems. I should, given that my main problem is a circulatory one, the one that I got before my accident, with my PAD, peripheral artery disease. And that's what lowers the circulation in my legs, and why I became open to getting the infections that I have got over in my legs for the last few years. This is actually the second time I have badly infected legs. The first time was about 2 years ago. That on that occasion, I was only in the hospital for about 4 days, 4 consecutive days, and they released me. I was on antibiotics, oral antibiotics for a month or 2 months maybe afterwards, and that cleared up that bunch, and then I've been pretty okay up until about 3 weeks ago. Or actually it was a little more than 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago is when I checked myself into the hospital. The actual onset of the cellulitis, of the swelling, of the pain, etc., began probably about 2 weeks before that. So I've been dealing with this one level or another for over a month, 5 weeks, maybe even 6, and it's not over yet. So where are we going from here? Like I said, 3 weeks so far in the hospital proper. Well, as of tomorrow, maybe the next day, paperwork when you're doing that sort of stuff is an endless nightmare. And slows down everything. And so I'm not sure exactly when the transfer is going to happen, but I'm going to be transferred from the ward here. I'm in the surgical ward. Delicious. I'll be transferred from the surgical ward here to a nursing facility, specialized nursing facility for a rehab, for various types of rehab. And one of those types of rehab is my type of rehab, which involves walking and seat transfers to get my crippled ass from the, what do you call it? From the machines that I use to roll around into my bed, to my office chair, to the toilet. Basically, that's the rounds that I got to be able to make without doing any walking at all at the moment. Hopefully, I'll be able to get some ambulatory capability back and be able to do some small walking. That makes a huge difference between small bit of walking, teeny bit of walking and standing up, and zero walking. That is horrible, okay? Just not good at all. I'm going in this facility, and according to the regulations that have been spat out at me by various social workers and so forth, as I organize this, I should get 20 days, 5, 10, 15, 20, completely free for me, paid for by Medicare in totality, okay? And assuming that is all valid and true, and I can be assured of this fact, and I'm not going to get a bill later that says, oh, yeah, we paid everything except this, which they do to you. And it's just how you end up with, bills you never thought you signed up for in the medical industry. Very opaque, okay? And they do so on purpose. So I get 20 days, so I will take advantage of those 20 days. All right? Assuming that I find the physical therapy, occupational therapy, wound care, etc., that they do at this place, if I find it, helpful and so forth. But then after 20 days, they want a copay of $186 a day, I believe. And, I might do that for a week if I really feel like it might make a difference to long-term recovery. But chances are no. All right? Because I don't think there's really anything that we're going to be doing in this facility that I cannot do at home. I know physical therapy exercises as a gymnastics coach. I had plenty of injured people, including myself, over the years to rehab. And I've got the rubber bands and the various ways of exercising parts of my body that I don't think I really need to be in this place. But if they're going to give it to me for free, I'll take it, okay? And whatnot, it's not really for free. I mean, I paid for this. This is all part of my insurance plan called Medicare, all right, that you pay into from the time you start in your working life, which I started when I was like 15 years old. And I worked for 40 years, basically straight, till I was 55, and got injured and unable to work. And what do insurance companies or insurance policies do? They insure you for situations like that, where, for one reason or another, your livelihood gets taken away from you. And, instead of being left twisting in the wind as a cripple begging on the street, like used to happen in the era of Charles Dickens and so forth, in the modern economy, up until now at least, you got pensions when you became old, too old to effectively do whatever your job was, or you became injured in some way and unable to effectively do what your job was, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, so, the idea that people who collect Social Security are freeloaders and so forth is a lot of horseshit. It is not so. Uh, all of us who paid into this paid into a plan that was supposed to protect us as we aged up, and that's what's happening to all of us, right? Everybody's aging up. The whole society is aging up, and that's one of the big problems is the demographics, and the fact that the boomers, the big demographic blip that came from after World War II of kids being born, especially in the Western industrialized countries, that group is aging up and aging out of the workforce age. And so the younger generations, in theory, have to keep the money flowing through the system so that the boomers keep getting their checks that are owed them. And there are a lot of negative feelings between the generations that result from all of this. And that business of the blame game and whose fault is it and whatnot is turned from a class warfare type of situation to a generational warfare situation. And much like a lot of our problems are changed from class warfare situation to racial conflict, as though this is a fight